A dream that turns into a nightmare. This is what happens to too many entrepreneurs during their journey. This is Luca Papa, founder of Digital Coach, a company specialized in helping entrepreneurs increasing their profits and improving the quality of their life. And in this video, I will teach you what are the reasons why sometimes it happens, and maybe you might be one of those entrepreneurs that already now in this situation. When you started up your company, I'm sure that you had a dream, as most of the entrepreneurs. We all have dreams. I also had the dreams. I still have dreams, fortunately. You had a dream, maybe you were very motivated of the idea of doing something special, and you imagined the future based on success, money, lifestyle, personal gratifications. But the reality is that the majority of entrepreneurs don't live anymore that kind of dream. In the last few years, we worked with a lot of entrepreneurs coming to us because they had a lot of problems. In their company, in their revenues, problems with their employees, problems with themselves and with their family, because they didn't have any work-life balance. And for most of them, the original dream turned into a nightmare. This happens because they didn't learn how to become an entrepreneur. I mean, nobody and no school teach them how to be a good entrepreneur. And in some cases also how to be a good online entrepreneur, that even more complicated. So most of the entrepreneurs, they start up their company without any skill as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. They usually have a skill in their previous job position. For example, if they were a developer, they might start up, for example, a company based on software development. But the problem is that being a developer and being an entrepreneur are two completely different jobs. So if you were a good developer, you might be even a very bad entrepreneur. But the destiny of your company is much more based on your entrepreneur capacity and skills, much more than your developer skills. So that's why in the long run you can lose the match. So when you start up your company from the beginning in the wrong way, making mistakes, you go on repeating those mistakes. As long as those mistakes become your reality, your routine, so you get used to those mistakes, and you get used also to the bad results and the ineffective situation made by those mistakes, until somebody tell you are doing this kind of mistake that you don't realize most of the time. You have to change this, you have to change your mind, you have to, and somebody that has the expertise that you don't have, has the authority to tell you what you should do, and has the trust by you, because you have to trust somebody telling you what are your mistakes. And this is sometimes the main job that we have to do when we work with entrepreneurs. We have to help them to try to understand what are the mistakes and what they should do in order not only to correct those mistakes, but also in order to put everything in place in order to grow and to scale up in the next few years. Scale up at the same time having a good journey and living a good life. What are the areas where we find the majority of mistakes that create a lot of problems to entrepreneurs, and where we have to work with them in order to fix those areas? The first area is the strategy area. As I told you, if you were a developer, you start up a company as a developer. But what happens is that you don't build the strategy. The only strategy is that you know how to develop, and you begin to propose your developing skills to potential customers, but you don't fix from the beginning a strategy, a long-term strategy with quantitative goals, qualitative goals, with by a personal study, with a strategy about your positioning in the market. You don't decide what are the uniqueness, what is the uniqueness of your company, a lot of things. There are at least 15, 20 areas, exactly there are 16 items we have to work with entrepreneurs in order to put everything in place in the right position. So that's the first thing, the first area. The second area we have to work on usually is the marketing and sales area, and more precisely the online marketing and sales area, since now online marketing is much more important than marketing, and online marketing bring a lot of sales also. So this is a very important area, and the majority of entrepreneurs, they don't really know nothing about that. So they are not even making mistakes because they are not even using that area in order to improve the results of their company and the ability to have a safe journey. Here in this area you have to decide a lot of things, and as before, there are 16 items, 16 principles we have to work on. Among those principles, just to give you an example, what are the customer journeys that your potential customers are doing online? Where do you find your potential customers online? How do you convert them from an online visitor to a customer? And so on, so on. So there are many decisions that have to be taken, and we help usually entrepreneurs to take all those decisions. Then you have the third area. The third area is the personal development area. In this area, what happens is that you have to understand that you as a person are the main responsible of the results of your company. And the results of your company depends on how you manage yourself. So you and your company are really linked one to each other. That means that if you want to improve the results of your company, you have to improve yourself. In this area, so everything starts from the mind. In the personal development area for the entrepreneurs, what we work on usually is, first of all, the mindset area. You need a mindset as an entrepreneur. You need the right beliefs. The right beliefs about yourself, the right beliefs about your employees, the right beliefs about your business, the purpose for which your company exists. So beliefs is the first area. Then you have the identity area, because if you started up your company as a developer and you still consider yourself a developer, you have a problem, because you have to develop an identity as an entrepreneur and not just stay as a developer. And as long as you don't develop the kind of identity, you will never get results as an entrepreneur. You will get results just as a developer. So that's why the identity is another area. And then you have the goals area. We help customers to fix the right goals, the right quantitative and qualitative goals. With quantitative, I mean numbers. Numbers means what is your target in 5 years of revenue, 5 million euro in revenues. For example, in 5 years, it's a quantitative target. But at the same time, you need also to have qualitative targets. For example, if your dream is to stay out of your office or stay out of your restaurant, your store, you need to develop, for example, a strategy where you can reach the goal to become an online entrepreneur. So this is a qualitative goal, to work online and to become a digital entrepreneur. This is a qualitative goal. So you need both quantitative and qualitative goals, and we help the entrepreneur to fix all those kind of goals. Then in the personal development area, we work with entrepreneurs also on their time management skills and their productivity skills, as long as their taking care, their ability of taking care of their work-life balance and their health, overall health. We use a lot of principle based on biohacking techniques. So because I'm a great user of those kind of techniques, so I teach them to our students. Then we have the last area. The last area is the management, the human resource management systems, methods. This area is important starting from where you have from 5 to 10 employees. So that means usually when you reach a level of revenues that is between 500,000 and 2 million euros, when you reach that level and you have some employees to manage, you have to I cannot say, you have to put everything in place. You need the management systems, how you manage people, how you fix goals, how you take them and bring them to be focused on the right things, how you manage the rules of the company, and very important is you have to work also on processes in order to make everything clear, who has to do what, when, and how. So that's the general idea. This is the management area. And in management also we work with customers with some methodology. We have our own methodologies called results, team performance management system. And this is a system that helps you to get results from your team, not just from yourself, but from your team. So if you like our approach, the only thing you have to do is to ask for a free consultation, and we will give you 1 hour of one of our digital consultant that will ask you a few questions in order to understand what are the main areas where you have to work in order to improve your company, and so to come back to the dream and to live the nightmare alone, but coming back to living your dream life and living your dream as an entrepreneur and also as a man. So come back to that situation, ask us for a free consultation. Luca Papa and Digital Coach. Bye bye.